Today, we're stepping inside the mind of a combat veteran living with PTSD. But then we're asking the bigger question. What happens when trauma leaves the battlefield but never leaves the body? From combat zones to corporate offices, we're talking about how trauma travels and how identity gets compressed long after the war is over. Welcome back to OG's Uncut, Conversations on the Culture. I'm your host, Priest, and I'm with my cousin and co-host, T-Rex.
What's up?
What's good, man?
Thanks, man.
Give you the spotlight today.
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. We're going to jump inside some stuff, some real stuff.
Okay.
You depend on how deep this conversation goes.
Okay. I'm following your lead.
Yeah, but how deep we go is up to you.
Okay.
And I'll tell the audience this, what we want to do with this conversation is take you to ground zero of PTSD as we know it, where PTS comes from, battle, know. But then once we take you to the battlefield and we take you inside the mind of a combat vet, our goal is to help folks recognize what PTSD looks like. So that you can see it in your everyday life. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's in your neighborhood, maybe it's in the hood, right? But the symptoms exist all around us. So I'm going to drop us in right here, man. On September 11th, 2001, I was a recruiter. And I remember what happened when I first heard the news that the towers had been attacked in New York. And you see the uniform behind me. I was wearing this uniform. I had been in combat units for most of my career at that time, but then the Marine Corps sent me on recruiting duty. And I was in a government vehicle. It was one of those little Dodgers or something like that. And I was listening to the radio. I was going to work or from work, I don't remember. But I remember when I first heard the news that the towers had got hit, my first reaction was a hit in my stomach, in the pit. Because when you join the military, you don't really think about going to war. At least I didn't. Maybe you did, and we can talk about that. I was looking at changing my situation and getting somewhere better. But it hit me in my stomach first. And moments later, I felt that energy rise into not anger, but resolve. And I remember my hand being on the steering wheel and my grip tightening. All right, let's do it. Because I didn't know what the scenario was going to look like. I didn't know where they were going to pull everybody from. I know I had combat training. So we didn't know what it was or what it was going to be. But what we know now is that it changed everything.
Right.
But you were in a different scenario. So at that time. So I want you to put the audience in the moment you were in September 11, 2001, when the towers got hit.
Probably I was in Michigan, stationed up there. I was at the gas station, and I've seen everybody on the phone. When I went in to go pay for my gas, I seen it at the gas station TV, and I seen a building get hit, and I'm seeing a building getting hit, but I'm looking I'm not knowing what it was about. You know what I'm saying? I didn't find out until I got home. And at that time, my first wife that I married, she was like, "Did you hear?" And I was like, "Hear what?" And when I saw on the TV, it was like a surreal moment. I was like, "God damn, who got audacity to come at
audacity
to come at the country like this?"
Yeah,
I'm thinking it was just like like how it happened in DC, the plane ran into the helicopter. I'm thinking this shit by accident.
Right.
So I'm not paying no attention. Then my like, oh, they hit the other one. I said, hold on, goddamn.
It's intentional.
This shit is intentional. So I'm still not paying no attention because we in America, we
It's
don't
catching up to you.
Yeah, so I'm
right,
still
it's surreal,
not.
yeah.
And then I said, okay, let me sit down. And I'm like, yo, it's no way. When it really hit me is when I saw the buildings drop. I said, oh shit, this shit is real. And then that's when I started digging in, and then I'm hearing how they shutting down flights. They said there's only 2 planes up in the air. And I said, okay, them 2 planes flying up out the air, those probably the people that's trying to leave the country that was coordinating this thing. And you know, late, like probably a couple of years later, that movie came out, Fahrenheit 9/11, and it was explaining that when they were saying all the planes was to go down. So, but long story short, that's where my mind was at. But I was already in a combat unit. I was in field artillery. So when I seen that, I already knew we were going to war. It was no, and I knew what they were doing. It was a terrorist act. Yeah. It was no what we going. Me, I knew what was
I had
happen.
been in the field artillery unit for 3 years or 4 years before I was where I was at. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And we had been in Kuwait, which I think it was something going on. This was before 9/11. This was 1999 and 2000.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been a secret mission that we didn't even know was live, but we were firing and all of that stuff. But you're in a moment now where you know the country's going to war and you're in a combat unit. Tell us how that made you feel in that moment. What was going through your mind when you're like, okay, all this training we've been doing, now we about to go use it?
Well, I was ready. I wasn't shook. I'm like, damn, this shit is real. I grew up watching Rambo and shit. I'm like, man, I'm about to actually get down what I grew up watching on TV. This shit is real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was like, damn, we had to write letters, mandatory letters to our family members, like farewell letters. You have to do that. And
just in case. Now they keep those on file, just in case it needs to be sent off.
Yeah, we write. It's called
that's a moment right there.
It's called farewell letters. You know what I'm saying? And we see the thing is, being in a combat unit, we already knew we was going to war a year before everybody else knew.
They're preparing you to die.
Yeah.
Right. They're giving you a contingency plan because they know it's a high likelihood that you might not make it
I
back.
had to go through the POA, power attorney.
So you had to, who did you write your last words to? That was a farewell letter. Who were you writing to?
Fucked up, you only could write one. So I had to combine my mother and my family. And at that time, I was separated from my wife. So I had her in there and my girl that I was dealing with at the time.
So you had a complicated ass farewell letter.
Yeah. Some of it was I didn't know. My mom knew, but my ex-wife at the time didn't know. So that's what my farewell letter. Yeah, and then after you do the farewell letter, you gotta get all your legal shit in place. So like if you die, who did you want to have power attorney,
will,
and everything? Yeah.
all of that stuff.
And then from there, when everybody's wondering if we going to where, we already got orders that we going.
Of course. Now walk us through anything significant happened during the workup when you're doing all the logistics, getting your equipment together, getting your own gear together, ready to deploy. Any significant moments there?
We couldn't tell nobody.
You remember what the tone was like in the unit? Because when I think about a lot of people only have like movie references to stuff like this. And I'm gonna just throw a reference out there real quick. Gladiator. You remember right before they went into the arena, and dude
was pissing on himself.
Pissing on himself, right? So you had a mixture of temperaments there. Some guys ready, amped, some guys afraid. What was the temperament like?
Okay, when we got our gear together, and because we always had our gear together because anytime it was an emergency, we always had, it was like a go bag, a duffel bag. We had our regular. I had two. Yeah. I replaced everything I had that we go to the field. I had a go bag, so I didn't have to get nothing. All I had to do was grab that one.
Gotcha.
So that was always there. When you in a combat unit, you got 2 duffel bags. One that you use to fill and everything, but then you got a go bag.
Just grab and go.
That you grab and go. Everything is fresh from gas mask and everything. You just grab it and boom, last minute. So I had that, and I never forget it. We was under the gazebo, and what they did is they locked us down a post for a week. We couldn't go off post no more.
Yeah, they ain't had no time to be chasing nobody down.
Yeah,
getting everybody
and so you couldn't go off post. So you had guys freaking out because the family members had to come. And some guys was married. Some guys' wives was pregnant. So you had guys leaving off post, going AWOL. You had some guys saying, I can't do it. We had some guys, when we was getting on the bus like we were soldiers, you literally seeing them run, get in their car, haul assing.
Wow.
And the NCO,
Shit was getting real.
Our BC was like, don't worry about that. They can leave. But he said they literally ended their career, their life. Because they said they'll never be able to get a job. The military gonna blackball them. They can't even, he said by the time we done with them, they won't even be able to work at McDonald's.
So you had guys pissing on themselves.
Yeah, if you want to call it. Yeah.
You know, that fear and everything. I'm gonna interject real quick because I wasn't in frontline combat like you. I did go to Afghanistan. I was in the hot zone, but my job at the time, because I was an officer, wasn't in proximity to battle. But I remember when I was enlisted and we did a regular Westpac deployment from Cali over to Okinawa, Japan. And it was supposed to just be like a training exercise, but then some shit went down. That's when we went to Kuwait. I was with artillery, I told you.
Right.
And we was doing our normal thing, and all of a sudden they're like, hey boys, we got to roll out. There's something going on. And the thing about it, there's so many unknowns. Like, for my situation, there was so many unknowns. Like, with the 9/11, you knew what was a threat. You knew what was happening. For us, it was just like, something happened. We got to go post up off the coast or wherever. And I remember getting my bags, getting my shit together. And we was like, I was thinking we was, when we pulled up to Kuwait, it was like Saving Private Ryan. You remember when they let down the ship, let down the boats and then the bullets. We ain't knew what the fuck to expect. That's how it felt. It felt like a Saving Private Ryan moment, but it didn't happen like that in terms of the bullets, because we were literally on the boats inside the ship. A lot of people don't know how this military ship work. Huge ship, got everything, all the accommodations you need. But when it's time to deploy, the Navy let down that goddamn back hatch, the ship sink into the water a little bit, and then the smaller boats we're loading on, that they come off. And then we go to the shore and we do our thing. We did all of that, and then we went and set up all our artillery shit. But we just was blind in terms of what the threat was at that time. Right. For you knew what the threat was. So people running in.
But what people don't understand, like when it comes to street stuff, it's like some peekaboo stuff. It's like, I'm going to catch you slipping. But it's different when the enemy know you coming, they prepare for you coming. That's like a different type of mindset.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I'm saying, there's no catching off guard. And you going into it with them seeing you coming. You dig what I'm saying? So like, and before, what people don't understand, when you get deployed, soldiers is there before the shit go down. You dig what I'm saying? Because when I got there to Kuwait, we came in Doha, and we was at Camp Virginia. We was getting our body trained for the climate.
Okay. Let's make sure the audience know where we going now.
Okay.
Because you just had us in the prep time.
Yeah.
Where y'all were training.
Yeah.
Some people were getting shook. Y'all were hopping on the bus. Some people were hopping in their car. Wives were pregnant. They were just running. Yeah. Right. Now you taking us to where y'all left, and you got in country. You landed where?
We landed in Doha. It was in Kuwait.
I remember Doha. Kuwait.
You got Doha. You had Arif John.
I've been to Doha.
So we landed in Doha. It was at night, and we got on this Haji bus.
Okay.
We called it the Haji bus, and only people that've been in Iraq know what a Haji bus is. We got on the Haji bus, and it was pitch black. We actually had our windows tinted, and they had curtains. So we didn't even know the hell. Only thing we would see was out the front window. We didn't know where the hell we was going.
That's crazy, right?
And it was like a 3-hour fucking drive.
Let's pause right there real quick.
Yeah.
Looking back, with your mind now, and you looking back at that situation, tinted windows, curtains, 3-hour drive. Why do you think they put y'all in a blackout space like that? They wanted to disorient you on the way to the destination.
At the time, I thought it was just for our protection. It was for our protection. I'm not thinking that, because, they said that in the military, we are the best at fighting night warfare. So that's where my mind was at. That's where America is good at. We got good at knowing how to fight fights just like it's daytime, but at night. So all our movements to get to Camp Virginia was not. When we came in on the plane, it was pitch black. We didn't even see the goddamn runway. All we just felt was and then when we got off the plane, it was dark.
I just think it's interesting how they didn't let you see anything.
No,
I think
we didn't know where we were going, yeah.
But I think it was more about that, like not letting you. It was stuff they didn't want you to take in for whatever reason. But
yeah. And when we got to Camp Virginia, we didn't even know the hell we was at. We went in our tent dark and everything. We didn't know where we was at until it was daylight. We didn't even know we was in the camp where everybody was at. When we and what was so crazy about it, we didn't know where we was at, so we had to pull fire guard duty. One guy had to be guarded one tent, another guy had to be guarded the other tent, and the whole time we in the proximity of everybody because that was the training grounds to prepare us to go across the burn because we was probably like 2 miles from the burn to go into Iraq from Kuwait.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So anything before we go on the other side of the berm into Iraq, because that's where the hot zone is at, right? That's where the firefights are at. Now take us to the moment where the training is done, they feel y'all are acclimated, and y'all are getting in convoys ready to go into Iraq.
Right.
Did that moment feel more real?
It felt real because it felt like Black Hawk Down. When we got into Kuwait and we hit Baghdad, our convoy got split. Because the people was rocking our vehicle. We didn't know the enemy from friendly.
It was just chaos.
It was chaos.
So you didn't know who was a threat and who.
Buildings looked like, you can tell that RPGs. We already attacked this place, burnt. Dead bodies, rocking the Humvee.
So you guys entered after there had already been some U.S. bombing.
We went in when it was hot.
It was hot. Now, it mentally in your mind at that time, because like I said, when we were coming into Kuwait on the ship, I was thinking in movies because that was the only real point of reference I had to war. I was thinking Saving Private Ryan. Did you have any shit going through your head trying to process what you were entering into?
Nah,
not really.
Nah, I wasn't trying to process nothing. I was
just in reality.
I was just in reality, and my mind said, "I'm gonna get you before you get me."
So this is the beginning because we're talking about PTSD. I want to highlight this here. This is when your nervous system went on high alert,
fight or flight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So y'all going into chaos.
It was so detailed that even our weapons, live rounds, we had to know our rounds when we fire they like green.
What kind of weapon did you have?
The first weapon that I had was an M203.
Okay.
It's an M16
grenade launcher
with a grenade launcher.
Yeah.
And I had live M203 rounds around me, a vest. Okay. So if my ass get hit by a round,
boom.
I'm double overkill on me. And when you over there, we had to have tracer rounds that when we fired, we had to know the bullets, friendly. Our bullets fly green. Their bullets that they were shooting was orange.
How the fuck? You know what? Because I know what tracer rounds are, and T-Rex just explained it, but tracer rounds at night, you can see the trajectory of ammunition flying, but it's a color. Like you said, y'all's was green and theirs was orange. Who the fuck coordinates that shit?
Some
I mean,
smart.
how the fuck do they got orange and we know that's okay? Let's leave that alone. Take us into where you first took fire. What was that moment like? Put us inside that moment.
The first time we took fire is when we was going into we was actually at the camp. We was at motherfucking Camp Arab John.
Okay.
Oh no, not Camp Arab John. LSA Anaconda.
Okay.
We was probably 5 or 10 miles away from Camp Taji. You got an east Camp Taji and you got a west Camp Taji. It took us it's almost like a day drive to get to Camp LSA Anaconda. And it's a big ass one. It's huge as fuck. And we was moving in at night, but one side of the road was a big ass open field, and this was like this big ass white house. It looked like like a house like off a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was one that, and then on the other side was this high ass grass cornfield. But where we actually got hit was in fucking outside of the camp that we were supposed to go into, but we didn't know that is no night movement. We didn't know that they was attacking the convoys that was coming in from the motherfucking the field. And since they didn't know that we was coming, because normally when they know somebody's coming, they didn't think nobody was coming because it's nighttime.
Right.
So when we pulled up, they didn't phone in fast enough to the Apaches that's in the camp, because if you coming in, the Apaches will automatically go up and they survey the fucking field because they got
deter people from hiding in the field.
They got heat signatures. They can see them motherfuckers. Right. So they didn't call the Apaches. The Apaches didn't come up until, and what was so fucked up, I had my night vision goggles on, but I couldn't reach down to the radio. So I'm telling, and I'm in my first sergeant. I like first sergeant. They coming from the tree line, and by the time he get on there,
you talking when they
the first time we actually caught rounds, they was shooting up the back of the Humvees, not the Humvees, but the 5 tons, and running off. So I couldn't stop them because if I shoot the 50 cal at them, I'm gonna hit my own guys.
Okay.
So I have to wait until these motherfuckers.
So they're popping out of the field, but they're behind the convoy.
They in there go do. They
from behind the convoy.
Nah, they coming in between the convoys doing everything.
Okay, so they just kind of running through, snaking.
The only reason why they didn't come at me because of all the firepower that I had, and I was on the turret.
Right.
And I had my M203 right next to me, so they can't do it. So I had to wait until they did the dirt to clear my fire zone, and then I started lighting up the tree line.
Right.
But I can't really light them up because by this time, all my guys are getting out the Humvee and they're shooting. So they're in my line of fire.
Got you.
So now I have to get down, get my 203 and jump out, and we going through the tree line with our NVGs just shooting to hit whoever we can hit.
Now this is complete chaos right here.
Yeah.
This is one of those combat scenarios. This is real combat right here because, you know, we've done all kind of training. I've done live fire training, night training. I've done training with the MVGs, the night vision goggles that you talking about.
And that shit ain't easy to do.
You don't have no depth perception.
No.
When you running with MVGs on, it's night vision goggles. It's night. It's black and white. First of all, you have no perception of depth.
Yeah.
How far shit is away from you is very limited. So the scenario that T-Rex is painting here is they taking fire. They're in the convoy. But the people who are attacking them are mobile. They're on the ground. They know the terrain. They got a place to run in and conceal themselves.
Last thing we would get hit there, and we outside the fucking camp.
Right. And normally you lack close air support right now because they weren't expecting your arrival, and you not following
the protocol.
You're not following the protocol and no night movement. So nobody's calling the Apaches to come in and survey.
By the time they came, we already got hit. They fucked them up though.
Okay.
They got them. Because you can't outrun them fucking Apaches. Them Apaches are so bad, them motherfuckers can see 4 miles frontwards and 4 miles back. And they so good that if they are out of range if it's Apache behind, they can send the coordinates to them, and then they can fire the rockets. So they got them, but it was collateral damage for us, because had we had known that it was no night movement, we wouldn't have went down, because it's oh my bad. It's a long ass road to get to it. It's like it's like a big ass L. After you get off the MSR Tampa, you go down this long ass road for about a mile, and then it curves, and it's a straight shot. And that straight shot for a mile and a half is nothing but cornfield. The other side is open field.
Got you.
And we moving at night. So we was open season on us.
Yeah. For whoever's in the cornfield, they see you don't see
and
them.
We knew it wasn't no night movement, and we knew they said it. Even if we got there, we would have already been out our vehicles, and we would have road marched in. We would have been prepared, because we infantry now. Of course,
yeah. You could have prepared more if you would have known, but you didn't know.
Yes.
And so
we would have radioed into them.
Yeah. But tell me, I know what you would have done, but I want to stay in the moment of what happened. It's chaos. It's night. You disoriented. You can't shoot from where you are, because now your war buddies, your soldiers, are out on foot handling the threat. So you got to go out and join them. Yeah. How chaotic did that feel? And was there any friendly fire? Anybody got hit with friendly fire?
Luckily, nobody got hit with friendly fire. Luckily, because everybody was in a state of shock at first. It was like, it didn't get real until we heard we getting hit, and you can hear it. And we saw the orange rounds. So when I wanted to shoot, but I couldn't, because I'm on a 50 cal.
Sure.
And then when my buddies is getting out, I can't fire the 50 cal because the motherfucker's loud, and I don't want to hit them.
Right.
So now I'm getting out. So by the time everybody got oriented and using them NVGs to get, it was like them motherfuckers had already got away, but we just firing. Hopefully we can hit something.
Okay.
So luckily it was nobody got hit with friendly fire, because they caught us off guard.
That first night, we're gonna come back to what you were just saying. But I want to segment that first firefight. How long did that last?
Shit, less than 30 seconds.
Less than 30 seconds.
But it was hella damage.
Okay. You took a lot of damage to your vehicles. Were any vehicles disabled? Did anyone get hit?
It was a lot of bullet holes in it.
Okay, but everything was still functional.
4 of our guys got taken out.
Okay, so y'all did lose guys there.
Hell yeah.
4 guys got taken out. What did the medevac situation look like, and how close to it were you?
Our guys did what we could, but shit, when by the time they got our guys in there, it was a wrap.
So y'all hadn't even you were going into Iraq, you hadn't even got to where you would be situated.
Yeah,
and y'all already lost
Ellis County. We already
4
lost
guys.
4.
Did you know the guys?
Not personally.
Not personally. Okay.
No. I know they was in my brigade, my unit, but I didn't know them.
I got you.
You know.
But that was I'm trying to give people the aftermath. This is 30 seconds of chaos, right? And afterwards, vehicles riddled with bullet holes, ammunition holes, 4 people deceased. And so you continue the convoy after y'all gather yourselves. I know you got to take an account for everyone. They got to get accountability. They got to see if anybody's hit, hurt, need a medevac. After you do all of that,
now when we were doing all that, we still ain't made it in the fucking camp yet.
Right, you still en route.
We outside the gates.
So I know it's a lot there, but after y'all gather yourselves and then you begin moving again, how long does it take you to get to the gates?
Get inside?
Yeah. You don't encounter anything else on the way, right? How long does it take to get to your destination?
To where we was at?
Yeah.
It didn't take that long. We went in probably like 5 minutes where our tent was where we was going to be at.
Damn. Now, what was your mindset? Do you remember any change in your mindset
from after that?
I'm in the shit.
And I don't give a fuck about them. It's like, if it was in my mind, fuck rules of engagement and fuck Geneva. These motherfuckers alive. Playing dirty.
We staying alive.
We staying alive by any means necessary. When we leave out these gates, all that shit that they told us inside, fuck that. If they want, and that was a bond, and that was a thing that we had. We gonna, yes, sir. Ooh, yes, Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel, because you're not going with these on the convoy. So we had made an oath. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Fuck that.
ask, don't tell.
We coming back.
We coming back by any means.
I understand, because what a lot of people don't get about the military environment, the combat environment, is that even certain training environments, you go through a mindset switch, even though it's not as traumatic as a war environment.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like all of a sudden, the shit else don't matter. I'm sweating to fucking hell. I'm fucking tired. I'm dirt. None of that shit matters.
Mm-hmm.
Only one thing matters,
Mm-hmm.
and that's staying alive. And that's keeping the guy alive that's next to you.
When we went into, we were so new that at Ellis Anaconda, we didn't have no, what you call it, them little barracks to live in. We was living out our vehicles for like 3 months. When I say we got there when it was fucking fresh, it was never. By the time we left, that shit was beautiful. It looked like a community like this. We had a Burger King, but when we was about to leave, that's when they was bringing in the Burger King. They had like a bank on there, financial joint.
So y'all literally stabilized the joint.
We stabilized the location. We stayed there, and we were still going on missions. And our missions, it wasn't like leave and come back. We went to Scania that was getting hit like a motherfucker. And you got to go to Scania because off the MS Topper, that's halfway to Baghdad. But that's where you get your gas at. We was getting hit there. And that was like the swamp. People don't even know in the desert they got fucking swamps. And then when you get there, we was living out our vehicles we was living out our vehicles. We eating MREs for 3 months. We ain't had a decent bath. We was making our bath. We would get a big jug and hold it with the hose. We taking cold ass showers and shit, still doing missions. And when we was doing missions, we was going to Fallujah. Which they called Death Valley.
Yeah, Fallujah.
Where the soldiers got hung on that exit. They call it Death Valley. You can smell gun smoke soon as you hit that motherfucker and seeing the IED rounds on both sides, letting you know by the time you get there, it's on.
Now, tell me about this, because you mentioned that the DFAC, which is dining facility. You mentioned how you had like Iraqi nationals who were
working
in the kitchen and shit like that, but they were also intel gathering and plotting, right? So they were getting pace and distance from key infrastructure inside the camp
to the fence
to wherever
line.
the fence line.
But when
was
they
at.
take their breaks, they always will walk. We were like, why the fuck are they walking way over there?
So they measuring stuff, and then, so now they're able to plot with their mortar rounds and send indirect fire.
Yep.
So basically, what you're saying, even when you got situated where you would be staying, that was still a war environment. There was no real what we call what you call a shit. You got war, and then you got what's the other shit we call it? I forget, like when you're on base in peacetime or whatever. But there was no relief. How did it feel knowing that you were under constant threat of attack?
How did I feel?
Because there was no such thing as the rear. Because the rear, you can go and engage, and then you can come back and get.
When we was in the rear, it was still dangerous.
Right.
By the time we left, going back to the rear was safe.
Right.
We got rid of all that shit. So when people was coming in, I was like, but when you say that, like, man, I actually felt safer going on missions than being in Ellis Anaconda. Because when you there, more people don't understand this, more deaths happen in downtime than when we was on the mission. More people died during peacetime because you get relaxed.
Right.
I never got relaxed. It was over there. When they was doing that R&R shit, I had a time to come back home for Thanksgiving, and I had a time to come home for Christmas because they put them in our Kevlar, and they would pick it. And every time I would pick it, I was like, somebody want it, and everybody, man, I buy it from you and everything. And my first sergeant pulled me to the side, and he said, Brown, is everything good with you? And he said, man, you had 2 times to go on home. R&R. I said, Top, I'm going to be honest with you. If I leave, I ain't coming back. I'm in the shit. I'm going to stay in the shit until I can go home knowing I ain't got to come back.
So how long were you in Iraq?
A year and a half.
You were there in a year and a half.
Yeah, and the reason why it's a half because I came back on the ship because you can get extra money.
Okay.
You got to help the guys on the ship out.
Got you. Okay, we're gonna
And
take a
that
break.
shit was dangerous.
We're gonna take a break, but when we come back, we're gonna get into the mindset and how PTSD was building and occurring in real time in the environment.
I got you.
All right, so we'll be back. Religion is a very dark and mysterious subject. But once you stand up, put the book down, and pick up your thinking cap, that's when things begin to turn around. And you'll realize that your curiosity is a journey. And sometimes it's a journey that you take alone. But you'll realize that the true benefit is life after religion. Life After Religion, my journey into history and healing, available on Amazon now. All right, Sergeant Brown, we're going back into the battlefield. You saw people lose their lives.
Yeah.
Right in front of you or at a distance?
Right in front of me. In front of me and at a distance.
Okay. Talk to me with whichever one you're comfortable with that had the most impact on your mindset in the battlefield, and maybe that left some impressions on you that you may still carry today.
Well, the every time it was in the heat of battle, my mindset was just go, fight, no hesitation. It was after, when I seen them guys go down, it was like, okay, he went down, fuck it, boom, 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 boom. It wasn't like, oh, and
you didn't have no time to empathize.
Yeah, that shit came after the shit stopped. You dig what I'm saying? And this might sound fucked up. It's almost like, shit, this is part of war, fuck it. Because if you harp on it too much, you'll lose train of thought, and then you'll get in the mindset, I want to go home. I can't do this shit no more. You had to keep actually talking to yourself like, fuck it, I'm in it. Fuck that, he went down. I mean, it got to the point where you didn't even want to ask anybody, how did he get hit? What happened? Because when you go into that and trying to figure it out, you put yourself in a compromising position.
Yeah.
So that may sound fucked up, but you had to do it. It got to the point where we were like, such and such went down. We were like, yeah, and that was it. We did not sit around the fucking campfire, drinking beer, having our kumbaya moment.
So you had
only thing we was thinking about, the next time it happened, we killing. We got to the point where we wanted to. I got to the point where, fuck it, any one of them motherfuckers I seen, I'm shooting them. Fuck it if they shoot at us first. I'm gonna shoot at them first. And if it was by mistake, fuck it. I can't take a chance for you to get your rocks off before I do.
Facts.
It got to the point where you lose morals. It's like you see your guys go down, you like, fuck it, any Haji I see.
It's just retaliation.
Weapon or no weapon, I just want to get your ass.
It's just retaliation at that point.
See, a lot of guys ain't gonna admit to that.
Yeah, it's facts.
You in the mindset of now you trigger happy.
Because now these are relationships.
Yes. Now when you say, did I know these guys? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now what I'm hearing is that I'm hearing something that's amplified in war, but that's normal in men to a lesser degree. You compress emotions until you handle the situation and you decompress later. In wartime, that's super amplified. What I mean by that is somebody got hit. They're gone.
Some of them didn't die, but some of them did.
Okay, some of them are hit. Some of them are killed or are taken out. Either way, you acknowledge it. You continue. There's no space in that moment to process that at all. So whatever emotional connection is there, you got to compress it. You got to compartmentalize it, and you got to keep first things first. Right, which is to stay alive and keep fighting. So I just want to acknowledge that compression moment right there that you had to be in to keep moving forward.
Right. Which I think y'all see in the movies is not what it is. You got to really talk to guys that actually been in the shit. Some of the shit that you see in the movies is like over, overstimulated, and it's not what it is. It was stuff that was going down there that didn't even hit the news. And we wondering like how this shit ain't even hitting. We watching the news saying that the news is lying. They're leaving shit out.
Ooh.
So that's what really made us not give a fuck. It's like y'all not even painting the right picture of what the fuck is going over here. So we really is like gloves off. Really gloves off. Like shit, we getting out here getting fucked up and y'all not saying nothing. Y'all telling people we went in the war when really it's tick for tag. If we really wanted to win the war, we would have dug that shit over with. But y'all got this rules of engagement, the Geneva Convention. Nigga, that shit could have been over. So a lot of times we getting hit because we're following this moral thing in the fucking war zone. And to add insult to injury, we watching the news and y'all not even telling the story fucking right. We can't call our family say nothing because anything you say, they automatically disconnect the phone call. I didn't even write my family. I got in trouble because my mother blew up rear detachment so goddamn much that my colonel, lieutenant colonel, came to me with the Iridium phone, which for y'all don't know is a satellite phone, and made me call my mom right there. But before I called, he said, why are you calling your mother? Because I said, I need to stay focused and I don't want to hear about no bad news. Because when me and my mom talk, we always get in an argument. I don't need no more goddamn distractions than what I'm already dealing with.
Right.
And even when I call my mom, lo and behold, she crying, you ain't calling. I say, Mama, I can't tell her what I'm doing. I said, Mama, I'm alive. She like, yeah, I don't know if you lied there. I said, Mama, that's what rear detachment for. Facts, if I go down, they going to tell you. You the one that said, if you ain't got nothing going before you fuck up your life, going to the military. Now I'm doing it. Now, see, that's what people don't understand. When you go to the military, it's a chance that you're going to go to war. Right. So when them guys was running and ducking like, nigga, you signed up for this. Did it cross my mind to run? I was like, yeah. And I was like, damn, I'm thinking about, damn, my girl gonna cheat on me and shit like that. But I was like, nigga, I signed up for this. And this is what I wanted to do. I had a chance after I took my ASVAB not to join artillery. Right. I joined it because I was always fascinated. I grew up in D.C. Right. I had homeboys. I grew up when D.C. was the murder capital, like murder capital. We flip-flop every now and then between us and New Orleans.
So you already had a little PTSD going into the military.
From the environment. Yeah. My homeboy got found in the back trash can in 7-Eleven when his throat slit. My boy got killed that I went to elementary school with. You know, DC was like, you know, snitch you in the ditch. Niggas getting killed. Like police was even getting killed in DC.
I remember you said that in another episode.
So you can tell people that got PTSD, they move different when they're in the world. Like, we don't like being around a whole bunch of people. We stay to ourselves. We work and go home. And if we do go out, we go out with people that we trust that really got our fucking back.
Right.
When you have PTSD, and I didn't even know I had PTSD, and I thought it was normal what I was doing.
After, when you say you didn't even know you had PTSD, at what stage is this? After you left Iraq?
I had it before I even left Iraq.
No, but I'm saying, when did you when were you first aware that you had it? When were you diagnosed?
When I got out in 2005. I didn't find out that I had PTSD until 2010.
2010, okay. But I want to highlight something, because you talk about growing up in Chocolate City, D.C., when it was the murder capital of the world. And I remember that because I remember, I think it was fluctuating for the murder capital of the world probably somewhere around 2002, 2003 as well. Because,
shit, way before that.
But at that time, too, because I remember I went to D.C. because I was going like to the University of Maryland. But I remember some dudes on the street arguing. And there was some older dudes, crackheadish dudes, but it was like, nigga, D.C., the murder capital of the world. And he was bragging about it. I never forget that. That had to be like 2002, 2003. And even like you said, in the 90s, it held that status. I think it's
years.
Interesting that you grew up in a war zone and then you went into another war zone. And that's a part of what we want to do with this conversation is show that war is not just in Iraq and Afghanistan and Ukraine and all of that. War is right here in the United States, especially in some of the black communities during the crack era and mass incarceration and all of that stuff that was going on with gun violence was a war zone. And so, like you said, the war zone that was somewhat situated in DC kind of preconditioned you to what you experienced when you were in Iraq.
Yeah, so when you asking me how did I feel and everything, I took my place, I took the mindset and environment that I grew up in, and that kind of like it helped me, it trained me to survive to make it back home.
Did you ever have to take a life while you were in war? And you don't have to answer that if you don't want to, but we know that's the question everybody always asks when we say, "Yeah, I went to Afghanistan, I went to Iraq."
I'll say this: it's war.
Okay,
It's war.
No,
A lot of times guys don't want to talk about it because how can I say this? The shit it stays with you. And it's like speaking on it, you feel like you open up a can of worms or like karma or something like that. It's like you letting demons in. It's like when like how like in the Bible say when you get saved or whatever, if you don't fill it with something, 7 more demons will come.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. When you talk about did take a life close up, I never let them get that close to me. If when the rounds hit them, I didn't see if they was alive or dead.
Right.
So if they went down,
you just knew the threat was neutralized.
Yes. I didn't sit and no. Did rounds go where I needed them go? Yes.
Right.
Did they survive from it? Don't know.
Who knows? You neutralize the threat. I got you.
Yeah. So, but the haunting part that you have to live with. Damn, did they die? Did I take a life? But the thing is, before I let you get me, I got you. Anybody I hit, their weapon was pointed at me and it was in fire.
It's got to be your philosophy going into war. I remember when I went over there, even though I didn't get in the firefight, I already switched my mindset. You know how they talk about, it's an honor to die for your country. My mindset, well, if it's an honor, then let them die for theirs. Because it's like you have to self-preservation is first. Like you said, it's war.
Yeah. It's not like I'm going. I say that it was a fair fight. You saw me, I saw you. You felt like you could get me, I got you. Cause like people not even understanding when we was over there, when they was doing their Ramadan and stuff, like they can walk around with their weapons. And as long as they don't point them at us, we can't do nothing. So you looking and they looking at you, but they holding their AK-47, so you looking at them.
I know how that go.
And you'll say something, and then some are bold enough to just stand there and keep looking. And then when you cock your shit back and be like, okay, then they start walking off. It has always been that way. So you get to a point where, nigga, I don't give a fuck now.
You got to. I mean, you really you got to throw all the emotion out, because I've been there. I told you, when I went over there, it was that friendly fire. And I've seen them dudes, they sitting on their trucks and shit, and they just looking at you. So it's even psychologically, before anything happened, it's already a battle, of the wills. You know what I'm saying? Just maintaining your composure and stuff like that. I want you to take us to what you carried beyond the battlefield. What can you tell us about what you still carry from those moments?
What I carry with them, the moments that at any given time, anybody could be a threat. and that's why I stay to myself, even to the point with family situations that I hear. I don't call the family. The family calls me, or I hear about it. And I try to, when you've been in an environment and you know how shit can really go to that level, you want to make peace and keep the peace by any means necessary.
Right.
People that take shit out of context, or people that say certain shit, they haven't been in the shit long enough, because certain shit certain stuff don't escalate. So I try to live my life where I stay to myself. I stay to myself.
Sounds lonely though.
Huh?
That sounds lonely.
It's lonely, but it's safe. And anybody that's been in the environment, and the thing it is, you don't have to have these type of feelings just being in the military. You could been out there in the street. Everybody has a touch of PTSD. Little do they know it.
Facts.
Some people are more extreme than others.
It's one thing that they don't understand why you choose to isolate, but you disagree that I'm gonna say over isolation is unhealthy?
Yeah, I'm understanding that. Sometimes my family and stuff like that, I get out, but I feel like I'm taking a risk.
I got you. Because I mean, even when we look back at your transit on the way to the initial camp when y'all took fire. Mm-hmm. I mean, even just the chaos at night with MVGs, losing 4 people, and y'all ain't even got there.
Right.
Like I can see like that feeling echoing when you're in, or does it? Let me ask you. I mean, does that feeling still echo when you're in chaotic environments with a lot of people?
Yeah, and sometimes I overthink things, and what I think I saw is not what I think it is.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a hit or miss.
But in reality, people who never been out of the country have PTSD.
Exactly.
Because I'm wondering how you process all of these mass shootings that happen in the United States. We got people who been in church got shot up. A bar gets shot up. A school gets shot up. Kids. This is PTSD. You got kids who are now traumatized, who are living and growing with that. But for you as a war vet, knowing that these things happen in the United States somewhat frequently, how does that sit with you?
Especially nowadays, I just feel like it's no different from when I was in Iraq. I feel like it's more dangerous now, because you, in a way, you don't know who your enemy from foe is. So I take everything as a threat. Even if it's a look, or I see somebody and if they frowning, my mind is already thinking a certain way. You dig what I'm saying? So, and it's messed up, but it's no different. Like I say, I actually I feel like I was more at peace there, because I knew who the enemy was.
You knew what was what.
I knew what was what. But here on the civilian side, you don't know who is what until it happens. So the only way for me to deal with it, to minimize that, is I stay out the way of everybody. Even with family, unless you call me, I don't call nobody. Either I'm talking to you or I'm talking to my cousin. And he actually called me last night when I was on the phone about another situation. So I don't even call family. I didn't even call my mom. I call you, my cousin, and my grandma. I really don't call the rest of the family. I hear about everything, and when it comes to me, I speak on it.
I got you. So trust becomes, I mean, coming out of a war environment, I mean, trust becomes a lifeline, really, because for you and for anybody with PTSD, because it lets you know who's for you and who's against you. It's like, to me, what I hear you saying is that you evaluating people to see which side of the line they're on. And in a combat environment, it's much easier to see that, because the people who are against you are displaying open aggression. Whereas in the civilian side, you may have somebody who's against you, but they're not displaying open aggression at all. They may be wearing a mask. So it's a lot higher. It's a lot harder to discern who actually is against you and who's not. So I can understand why you say you want to shrink your circle to those who are verified. Because once you open the circle, you open the possibility of opposition behind a mask.
Yeah,
right?
you don't really know who your true friends are, or who, if you call your friends family or whatever, you really don't know until, like we say in the military, the rubber meets the road.
So let's transition into everyday people and PTSD.
Right.
I feel like the same stuff goes on at work. And I'm not to compare that to the war environment, but I'm talking about the behavior of dealing with trauma, where you compressing yourself and saying, well, you know what? I done put all this money into school, education, and preparation, but I'm going to just compress myself. I'm not going to allow myself to show up and shine, because in my mind, I know that there are some blockers there, but instead of acknowledging those and fighting through them, I'm just going to shrink myself to be acceptable. And I feel like that's a form of PTSD. Folks not willing to step up, even though you're competent and you're educated. So I mean that's just on the corporate side.
But you basically, like PTSD, when you dealing with it, you isolate yourself, and it's no different from a job. You isolate yourself in a comfortability because you don't want to. You feel inadequate, and you isolate yourself. You keep talking to yourself like, I'm cool right here, when all the signs are saying, hey, I can move up. So you're isolating yourself. You don't put yourself in this like this little cocoon, this little bubble, and it's like a slave. I'm gonna do as I'm told. I know what to say, and I know how to do this, but just so I won't ruffle no feathers. And you could have been there for years, which you been there for years, you entitled to voice your opinion. But why are you scared, or why do you feel like it's a threat? It's because of, like you say, it's a form of PTSD.
It is. And
it's trauma, because why you not elevating yourself? Like you said,
when you're qualified.
I don't want to move up because I don't want to seem like, but you earned that right.
You did. But in that person, I see you.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because your isolation that you mentioned is because you feel like when you go outside of a certain circle, it's ambiguous and you don't know who to trust. So there's a potential for attack. And to reduce that and to create a space where there's safety for you to let your hair down, take off your armor, you shrink into an isolated circle. Well, the person is doing it for the same reason at the job, because Black people have been attacked for a long time for showing up fully and shining, has attracted attacks. I'll throw one out there. Jack Johnson. Even though Jack Johnson antagonized him a little bit by getting the white women, but he was shining. He was knocking these guys out. But what happened to him? They created the Mann Act. You take one of them white ladies across the state line, that's you're transporting for to commit immoral acts. So it's an attack. And I think that's the one message that's been communicated to foundational Black Americans from slavery through all of our eras, through all of our traumatic eras up until now, that when you stand up and you shine, you attract an attack. So what's the nervous system's response? To shrink, to isolate, because that's safety. Black Wall Street is that. Black Wall Street stood itself up, self-sufficient, banks, businesses, hospitals, lawyers, torn down and attacked. What's the message? Showing up fully is bad. So I got to shrink myself. So yeah, we all got a touch of PTSD based on our history.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people don't know trauma is trauma. People think that trauma has to be an act of violence where the extreme is like
it's gotta be
fighting,
bullets
shooting,
flying.
and bullets
Yeah.
are flying. Trauma is trauma. You know, like my mom grew up drinking and smoking. My dad died of a heroin overdose. So guess what? I drink. I don't smoke. Did I try to smoke for a period of time? Yeah. So you develop habits, and most of the times them habits that that's generational is from some type of fucking trauma. Like why black people can't trust each other is because I feel like from slavery. They made us not trust each other.
Right.
Like for instance, some people call it in church, they call it a generational curse. You need to be delivered. But
Right.
where did that come from? I guarantee you it was from fucking trauma. You can have a bunch of guys in your family that how they became molesters. He might have an ancestor that he was forced to have sex with black
Right.
women.
And then that trauma is passed on and inherited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you wonder why this motherfucker out of nowhere he want to have sex with his family member, or he got this thing for raping. And that shit just didn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah. That stuff passes down to your DNA as well. I mean, it passes down socially and biologically.
Yeah.
Once it becomes entrenched. And I just want to highlight that. I love the fact that you pointed out church with generational curses and how they try to deal with trauma in one instance, laying hands and prayer. No, you got to peel back the layers and get to the root of it, and put the person at the driver's seat at the root, so that they can start changing how they making decisions from that level, and let that work its way out. You know, and that's the sad part with church is it really plays with trauma. You know, it really treats it like it's something that you can just take off, like use magic. And that's the sad side thing about church. And I think it's why, not to harp on church, but we got a lot of experience there too.
Churches, when they saying deliver, now that I've broke away from church, all religions put Band-Aids on things.
Exactly.
It's just a fucking Band-Aid. It's not fixing the problem. You're not getting to the root of it. To get to the root of something, you got to get rid of it. And I think everybody, if they was to talk to a therapist, and you got a good therapist that know their job, you'll be like, damn, a lot of shit that I do and the way I think, the way I handle things stems from my childhood. You dig what I'm saying? That's why it's no more family cohesion with our culture. It starts at home. Like, you know, back in the day, Sunday dinner, everybody came to Big Mama house, ate, and we talked. We don't do that no more. Most of the time you go to most people's houses, I only see this, when I see black people sitting at the table, they do it for like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's the only time we gather. But shit, now, Thanksgiving and Christmas, when I see it, and I ain't just talking about my family or anything, everybody gets their plate and they sit. It's no gathering.
I think this is an interesting connection to where we're showing how PTSD causes people to isolate because they retreat into a world that they've defined as safe. And when you paint the picture of Sunday dinner, how it was, we shared a common world, you know, because sitting at a table is just a representation of us sharing a common world. Like, my world is connected to yours, it's connected to hers, and it's all one circle. And we all contribute into that world, and we get feedback from that. But now you're right. I know when I go home, love my family, but all family don't always show up when it's time for Thanksgiving. And when we do show up, you know, it's not the table setting, and not that it has to be a table, but you're right. People take their plate and they go isolate into their world, to their corner, what they do. And it's interesting because we're not having a shared experience anymore on a normal basis. And I think that is a symptom of PTSD, trauma, and how we've processed growing into adulthood. Because as Black Americans, when we leave our nest and we leave the house, we go out into a world that's been hostile against us for decades here in America. So you learn to put on certain armor, put on certain defenses, just living in America as a Black person. And that reflects when you come back into your home environment. you may still bring that isolation right into your household.
Look at the riots in our own community. We tear up our own community. We take shit to the extreme.
Yeah.
That's because, yes, we're angry, but it's an emotional response from trauma that we know, like for instance, we know police killing us, defenseless us, and everything. And we never came to an agreement of we need to figure out how to stop this. It's like once we overreact and it's at the detriment of our own. We're not going to the white people's neighborhood we turn up our own. And white people,
well, we don't own it, to be fair.
We don't own it, but that when you tear it up, you ain't got no money to fix it.
There are conveniences, but I mean, they
don't own us. And that's what I mean, where that post-traumatic stress, I mean, the PTSD, that trauma is because we don't have a skill set how to deal with our PTSD when it comes to one another.
I think one of the masterful things that the United States as a system has done to foundational Black America is to make us feel as if we're the cause of our own dysfunction. And to a degree, we do participate now. Now I think that trauma has been normalized. Yes, we turn violent on ourselves. Like there are pockets of violence that are normalized and even celebrated in foundational Black American culture. But when you look at the historical progression, that has always come from the outside, right?
Trauma.
Slavery from the outside, trauma. Sharecropping from the outside, trauma. Jim Crow, the fighting Jim Crow with civil rights, the war on drugs, mass incarceration, that's all from the outside. But I'm gonna point this out. It wasn't until after integration.
Yeah.
You talk about feeling more safe, isolated because you know what's in your environment. But when we broke down the barrier that surrounded the Black community with segregation, and we opened it and integrated, it raised the levels of uncertainty because now you don't know who's who. So now in your own Black community, who shot Malcolm X? Black people who were in the crowd. So this is what I'm saying. When you're in the club and the club's in and you worried about getting hit by who? Somebody who looked like you. These things weren't normal before we opened integration and brought in and combined everything. And then you've got a lot of unknowns. You've got a lot of ops wearing masks. So that in itself, integration, and a lot of people probably never heard it said like this, but integration was a form of PTSD normalizing itself in the Black community because all the opposition that was outside, bombing your churches and hanging people, you can see it clearly. But now that it's integrated, everything's mixed up. Every face looks friendly. And now you have to develop another skill set, another level of discernment to see who's who. Yeah, they're smiling, but you know what I'm saying? I can see the indicators that show me that this is an opposition. That's a whole nother mindset that you got to fight through. And some people just have a PTSD response to that, where they just shrink themselves to say it's safer here. I'm just not going to show up as loud and as vibrant and as full to protect myself.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because, like I said, when it comes to us, out of all the trauma that you said from the Jim Crow and all that, you don't see us using our PTSD against them. We only use it against our own.
Where are some of the places in foundational Black American culture where you feel like trauma is normalized? And as Charlemagne the God says, trauma is passed off as culture.
I never seen us come to a resolution. It's always an eerie thing in the air. Like, so what is going on? Well, he's
never completely resolved.
It's never completely resolved. And I see that with us all the time. But when you see anybody other in ethnicity, they get to a resolve. But as a FBA people as a whole, Black Americans, we never can get to a resolve. It's like everybody get everything off their chest and that's it. They feel like that's a result. That's not a resolve.
Gotcha.
Especially when shit is still lingering.
So you just vent, but you don't
never get to a resolve.
I got it. Okay.
It almost, but it leaves an awkwardness. I see how everybody else, and I'm not saying white people don't have it.
Do you really know? Because we don't really know how everybody else handle their shit. We always give other people credit, like we the only ones.
Well,
I'm they doing. We don't really know what they do.
From the outside in, it seemed like the way
we don't know.
I don't know about them. For far as my people, FBA and blacks, it seemed like we never get to a resolve. Okay. It's always.
I got it.
Yeah. Maybe you can clean it up. I can't find the actual word for it.
You saying it. But I mean, unless you're gonna give examples, I mean, we got it.
See, we can go on and on all day with that one.
I think I hear that, and I think another one is poverty. I think poverty is normalized, and not completely, because with the culture now, when social media and hip hop opening up doors in entertainment to get money, we are normalizing getting money. But one thing we do is, we want to flex on one another. I think what's the comedian name?
Mike Epps.
Mike Epps talked about that. We flex on each other. I think that's a traumatic behavior. You know what I'm saying? It's okay if you work hard and you want nice things, work hard and get nice things. But flexing on somebody, that I don't know, that might have its roots in trauma somewhere, because a lot of us, we came up with nothing. And then when we get something, it's like, oh shit, I got it. And some people just kind of take it to the next level. Oh, let me rub this in your face. I think that's traumatic. And I think normalizing poverty, being okay with crumbs, is traumatic. And I see that in two places. I see it in church. This whole humility attitude, I think that's a traumatic response. That's another way of shrinking yourself and making it sound like it's a moral decision, like you're a bigger, you on a moral higher ground, because you're being humble, and really you just shrinking out of traumatic response, because you feel like it's safer in the society you live in to not fully show up, to not be yourself, to not express your brilliance, to not move up the ladder. It's safer for you to do that. And I think that's a traumatic response as well.
Right.
And the last one I put out there is hip hop. Just like you said, when somebody get a firearm, they thinking about the threat coming from somebody who look like them. And mind you, I say most crime that's committed is done. People do crime where they live, so that's normal. But in our music, we verbalize it. You know what I'm saying? If you pop, brr, whatever the young dude's doing now, it's on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? And we the only people who do that in our music. You know what I'm saying? We're the only ones who do that. The music is fire. The beats are like that. The cadence, that's what makes hip hop great. But that content is carrying that trauma, bro, like it's nursing a baby. Like it's nursing a baby. And we the only ones who do that. You know what I'm saying? When you go back in the archives and look at hip hop, they was trying to stop that for a minute. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. So, we've normalized a lot of things in the culture that are traumatic. And I feel like, we don't have to be followers. You can still be cool or fly, whatever you're going to do, but you can be healthy. You can be moving toward a healthy direction. I feel like we done isolated anything that's cool and fly, got to have that hint of hood and trauma and all of that with it, or it ain't real. That's bullshit. Because I done been on both sides of that fence. And you can still take the best of what one environment gave you and take it as you grow and move on. You ain't got to keep the trauma with you. You can grow out of that shit. So,
yeah.
And I think that's where we need to be headed as a culture. With that being said, Sergeant Brown, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, Captain Fullah.
Because it's not easy opening up and going those places. I know some people think we just sitting down in the chair and talking, but I mean, this is real life, and it's the kind of dialogue that we giving here on OG's Uncut. You don't see in a lot of places. I've never seen it on TV, on the internet, and that's why I do it. That's why, we choose the sort of topics that we choose, because this is the kind of conversation that people need to hear in order to move forward. And I believe it's a reason why right now at this time, I think as a culture, we at a particular juncture where we coming face to face with our trauma, and it's for a reason. It's not so that we can focus in it and wallow in it, but it's so that we can face it and go beyond it. And I think that's the time we're in, and I think we need to take advantage of that. And with that being said, I hope y'all got something from the conversation. Me and T-Rex are gonna chop it up after this, and if we feel like it needs to be a part 2, or the comments dictate that it needs to be a part 2, we'll get in here and we'll go with some other directions with it. But for now, we appreciate y'all. If y'all want more content like this, y'all want us to add to the series, chime in and let us know, and we'll move accordingly. Thank y'all for watching. Until next time, we out.
Peace.